guys, it's Alex Wendling here, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Funk is Fact podcast with your host, Alex Wendling. I'm going to be talking to Tammi Musumeci this episode because she has a match coming up against Amanda Alequin this week. Just wanted to preface, this interview was recorded June 15th, so the news about ADCC weight classes being added for the girls division hadn't come out yet, and also the news of Amanda versus Tammi wasn't official yet. So just wanted to preface that. Please enjoy this interview. In the beginning, there's a little bit of background noise because she is taking time out of her workday to talk to me, and there's a little bit of noise, but we fixed that, and I edited around it as much as I could, so just know it's not going to be a problem the whole interview if it's like frustrating your OCD. As I flex my morning combat mug, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video. What is up, Jiu Jitsu fans? We have a very special guest today on the podcast. It is Tammi Musumeci, and she's taking time out of her busy day to come hang out with us. She is a 5-time IBJJF black belt champion. She is an ADCC bronze medalist and also a law school graduate of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So Tammi, I gotta know, I've never been a lawyer or a world champion before, but what is more stressful? The thought of having to take the bar exam or competing for a world championship?
Bar exam, 100%. That thing took years off my life. That was ridiculous.
And you already took it?
Yeah, I passed it the first time, thankfully.
Wow.
2020, yeah.
Oh my gosh, well that's such an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And you know what they do? So you take it and it's hell. Then they release the results like maybe 3 months later because it takes a while for them to read the essays, and they release a list. And if you're on the list, you passed, and if you're not on the list, you didn't pass. Isn't that great?
Oh my gosh, so you just have to go through that whole, how many people are usually on the list? Like in the hundreds or?
I'm actually not sure. I just saw my name and I was good, but it's
Yay!
Yeah, it's terrible.
So how has that been, like balancing a full-time job now with your athletic career? Because there's so much training that still has to get done. So how have you been able to balance that?
It's challenges. I like it in some ways and I don't like it in some ways. Like, I feel it's good to some extent because it helps me to stay on a schedule and have to manage my time better. And I do like to be busy, and in other times it's hard because, like, for example, last night I had to do something I couldn't train. It's just, you have to kind of work it around it. It's not that easy, and also, you know, you're tired after work, but you still have to force yourself. Like, if you want to do something, you might have to wake up early and do it. So it's good and bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and you're definitely no stranger to waking up early to get things done. I know you're not on Instagram, but your brother talks about you a lot on Instagram when he says you're up at like 4:30 in the morning, will go on a run and then work her full day and then come train at night. So you're obviously on a very strict schedule when you come to that, when it comes to that stuff. You don't have an Instagram, but you do have a LinkedIn. So it tells me that you're very is that not you on LinkedIn?
Oh, I guess I have that. I don't.
I guess maybe you don't go on it anymore. Yeah.
I mean, I think I made it in school. They had us make it, but I don't think I touched it.
Honestly, that would make so much sense because I also remember in school, they were like, you can get bonus points on this if you make a LinkedIn and add people in your class. But it was for like a business class. So maybe that's probably why they got you in. But what is it about that being on your phone and the social media lifestyle that you kind of just like to separate yourself from?
I just feel like it's kind of a fake lifestyle. And I don't know. I like to kind of live a quiet, peaceful life. And I kind of even like the few people that, you know, I talk to on a regular basis. They have my number if I talk to them. I just don't like that whole world, and I just don't feel like it's really, you're getting the pure interaction, you know, that you do with, you know, when you have a real friendship. And it just kind of gives people an opportunity too to say things that are not that nice too, which I don't like. I don't like that whole toxic world. It's just, I just choose, like, I mean, there's benefits obviously to it. There's exposure. I mean, I feel like Jiu Jitsu and MMA, for example, they got probably, that was a good way to, as a platform for people to grow as athletes and to be, to become more famous. But just for me, it's just something I'm not that interested in.
I 100% feel you on that. As a TikTok manager and someone who has to be on social media for work, I feel you and some of the toxic energy that people just want to hate on your stuff sometimes. And then also you do have some big supporters all around, but I 100% feel you on separating yourself, and I really give you kudos for that because it takes guts to completely step away from what is becoming the norm in the world right now when everyone just kind of mindlessly scrolls from time to time. So I do give you props for that. So when we look at your signing to One Championship, they're obviously a company that's based in Asia, but now they're making a few more US appearances. But I think since you've signed with One, you've been able to explore the Asian countries a little bit more and maybe train. Can you tell me about that experience and being able to travel?
So it's kind of funny. I used to hate traveling. Like, I went to Brazil, I think, Abu Dhabi, and Portugal, like, for tournaments in the past, but I hated it. I wasn't really that interested with, like, I just don't like traveling. But so when I got signed to One and my first fight was in Singapore, I was freaking out a little bit about that, the plane ride and everything. But that was an amazing experience. I think the difference was, like, when I would travel out of the country, I wouldn't really sightsee as much. I would more just stay at the hotel and go from the hotel to the venue. But, like, when I was in Singapore, I went with my mom and we got to really sightsee and really kind of experience the culture there, which was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm going to Thailand now, so I heard Thailand's really cool, but I've only been to Singapore, but so far I really enjoyed Singapore. I felt like it was very safe, very nice. The people there were very nice. It was it was definitely a good experience, and that's why even when I go to Thailand, I hope to like not just go to the hotel and then the venue. I want to, like, experience that as well.
And so, is the news already official of when your next fight with One will be, since you're talking about Thailand?
Oh yeah, my fight's in July 5th, 15th. Sorry, July 15th.
Tell us about the matchup you have coming up.
So my matchup is with my friend Tubby.
I just interviewed her. I didn't know they had made it official that it is against you. Yeah, she literally gave me a little tease of the interview that I wasn't sure who she was going to say her opponent was. Like, I thought it was like maybe Danielle Kelly. And now that you're saying it's you, she's freaking amazing. I love her. And you guys have competed against each other before. I think you got a win by decision. So, what were some things that you saw about her game in the last time you guys saw each other?
So it's kind of, so we used to train a lot together, and then we fought each other at who's number one. And I mean, it's kind of how I expect her. She's very technical, but also she's very aggressive. She has that aggressive style. So, and she's very aggressive. Doesn't stop moving. Doesn't stop attacking. So it's tough to it's a tough match always.
That's so exciting. I cannot wait to see you guys go at it because, like you said, she is quick, she is scrappy, and she's always hunting for the submission. When you think about your game and how your game has developed, I thought it was so cool that you went on a podcast and talked about how drilling is super important. One of the things you could do is drill your game. So, at what point of your career did you start drilling your game to be kind of a hunt the back um, or if you consider that, like, what do you consider your game and what type of things were you doing to drill that game in practice?
So my brother and I, we started drilling, I think, when we were like, I think we were like blue or purple belts, like a long time ago. Um, Nowadays, I don't like. We kind of did that pretty much all the way through the ranks. Nowadays, I actually just more focus on rolling and focusing on kind of drilling when I'm rolling and working on specific stuff. But that was very important, I feel, to build the muscle memory.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever have heard of drilling your game. And I was like, okay, instead of just drilling different techniques, I should figure out what works for my game and just focus on that. Also, Tammy, is it possible? I don't know if that's like the phone touching the microphone or something, but is it possible to maybe put the phone in one spot? Because I feel like it's kind of making some noise. I want to go back to the 2022 Nogi World Championships. You got a rear naked submission against Jasmine Hosha. And you said that the theme of the weekend was that you wanted to enjoy more and still push yourself. So, why was that the theme of the weekend, and how did you bring that to fruition?
So my last tournament before then, I competed at, I think, the ADCC Open, which was the one before the ADCC. And after that tournament, I got like this really bad kind of staph infection on my leg, which turned into sepsis and stuff. And I was out for a while with that, like over a month, and I had a hole in my leg. It wasn't a fun situation. So I think at that point I was just so taking a month off, like, and I kind of, it's funny, I still try to keep the same mindset. Like, we always try to train for tournaments and make it like it's work and stuff, but you don't really get to enjoy the actual physical activity, Like, I always would envy people who like running, for example, or like doing, it's really cool what our bodies are able to do. And when you're get that taken away from you, like even though thankfully it was only a short period of time, like you don't realize how good it feels and how what a privilege it is. So at that point I was just very thankful that I was able to train again, and also I got more into working out. Like I enjoy now, I try to run, I try to do certain stuff. So that kind of encouraged me to feel that way.
Wow. Well, that is a serious battle that you had with staph infection. And I think that's something that could definitely scare people away sometimes from the sport. What would be your advice for trying to stay away from that stuff? I know like the immediate thing is just always try to take a shower directly after, but sometimes like things still happen. So, what is your advice for maybe new people that are looking to get into the sport that are scared of the things that can happen on the mat?
So I feel like so it's funny, if you would have talked to me like a few weeks after or during that thing, I would have said I'm not going to train again, because it's kind of like it kind of was pissing me off. Like this was affecting my life in a lot of ways. I had to go to the hospital. I had to spend time in the hospital. It just wasn't that, it wasn't a fun experience. But I mean, honestly, I think it's good, like, to definitely keep good hygiene. That's the first thing. Do not, keep yourself clean if you have something on you, to not train, or to make sure, like, that anything that could possibly spread or anything is not where anyone could get it. Also, I think it's important to shower right away after training, especially if you're at a place that you're not really comfortable with. I mean, that you don't really know their hygiene habits. I got mine at a tournament, so, and I now thinking back, like at the ADCC Open, people were walking with their shoes on the mat, so it wasn't.
Oh my gosh, that frustrates me so much.
Yeah, especially like these big tournaments, like you go to like these big tournaments, they're not going to be that clean. I mean, I feel like it depends on the style of the tournament too. It depends on, like, I feel like if it's a tournament with wrestlers, I feel wrestlers tend to, like, high school wrestlers and stuff, that tends to be, kind of a red flag. But it's something that, like, when you think of jiu-jitsu and you think of the risks of doing it, that's like not something that really comes to your mind. But it, like,
Yeah.
that was actually one of the worst injuries I've had in that way, that it was dangerous.
Oh my
So
gosh. And when you were hospitalized, how did they end up making it better? They just gave you some type of pill, or how did they fix it?
so it's weird. So when I competed on the Thursday, and then on Saturday I got this like big abscess on my leg. Like, it was really big. And it's weird too, like that night I thought, okay, maybe it's a, I don't know, mosquito bite, something weird. But then that night I remember, I don't know remember what I was doing, but I couldn't lift my arms at all. Like, I was in so much pain. And so I was like, okay, maybe this is staph of some sort, because I've had MRSA in the past. And so I tried one medication that always would clear it away. It didn't work. And over the week, I've tried maybe 6 different medications, and none of them worked. So then in the hospital, they gave me like a strong one, through the IV. So that was good. And that finally, I think what happened too was they had to clean it out in order, because it was just one big bowl. So, but I think like it's definitely like important for people to recognize the risks with that, because I mean, it's not funny, it's not a funny situation. It's could be dangerous. And I'm lucky that I've had it before where I was able to recognize it. But imagine someone that just started who doesn't realize what's going on. They could potentially die from that or lose a limb or something. Mikey almost lost his arm with staph when he was younger.
Oh my gosh. Why? Yeah, because he didn't catch it quick, or
I think the thing is too, like, I think MRSA and stuff is more commonly found in hospitals. Like, I mean, that's where it's recognized. But if you go to like a normal doctor, it's not, because I mean, even ringworm, even if sometimes doctors don't really know what that is. I mean, they know what it is.
Oh gosh.
But like, no, you know what I mean? In jiu-jitsu though, we get so many of these weird skin things. So he got like this little pimple pustule. He was really young. He was like probably 12 or 13 on his arm, and we didn't think anything of it. And then his arm just blew up, and he tried all different medications, but he was in the hospital for a week. It almost went into his bone. So it's definitely something that people have to worry about and be careful with.
Yeah, it's definitely something to take seriously. And honestly, not the biggest part of jiu-jitsu. There's many more good things, but that is one of the negative. One of the good things is winning world championships.
Oh, of course,
and you did that.
Of course. Yeah.
And you did that. You've done it 4 times in no gi. And you have obviously a big background in the gi as well. But with the way submission grappling has been going and more opportunities in no-gi, was there ever a time where you thought you might just focus on solely no-gi, or do you still try to train gi as much as you can?
So over the last year since I've signed with one, I've been training more no-gi. This year though, when I watched the Worlds, I definitely would have liked to have done it. So I think once I get more on a schedule, I feel, of when I'm going to be competing for one, I'll definitely want to do gi as well.
Interesting. Nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's fun to mix it up every now and then too. I know your opponent coming up, Amanda Alequin, she also trains some hands sometimes, might potentially take an MMA fight in the future at least once. Do you ever see yourself being able to take an MMA fight, or is it strictly jiu-jitsu for you?
Nah, it's funny. Tubby and I used to train like MMA at Black Zillions in Florida, but that's funny. I always thought she would do well at MMA because she's super aggressive. What was I saying? Oh yeah, no, I don't want to do MMA. Just jiu-jitsu is good. I don't want to get. It's just not like something. When I was younger, I was interested in it, but not anymore.
Nice. Yeah, you're probably going to go more of the lawyer route because you went to law school and did all that. So congratulations there. I also wanted to talk to you about how, I don't know if you were saying this sarcastically on a podcast, but you said that you wrestled in high school, and then the host was kind of like, "Oh, did you really? So did you wrestle in high school?"
Yes, I did. I did my freshman year. I mean, I wasn't that interested in it because I was more focused on jiu-jitsu, but I did wrestle a little bit. I mean, I've always wrestled, but I did actual high school wrestling in my freshman year.
And you started jiu-jitsu so young, just when you were 6 years old, and you started competing. How long after that?
Probably I think 2002 was my first. So I was like 8. So probably 2 years after starting to train, I then jumped into tournaments.
And when you were competing as a kid, I had a competition this past weekend, and I saw that there were young kids, girls versus guys, going at each other. And I guess that is just normal because they're still little kids. Did you compete against a lot of guys growing up? And what do you think you learned from that?
I'd say I competed probably 99% growing up against guys until I was like 16.
Wow. Just because there was no other
Yeah,
girls in the division?
16. No, I think I've only faced like maybe 2 girls and 3 growing up, like so that was like from like 8 to 16, so like 8 years. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean that's just, it was a different thing back then, you know. It's a whole different
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, I feel like now there's definitely a few more options for the girls as well. And also, when it comes to just divisions in general, when we look at ADCC, do you think that there is going to come a time when there are more divisions? And if so, what would be the division that you want to see at ADCC for the girls?
So I mean, I was talking to Mo, and hopefully this happens. I think hopefully they add like a 55 kilogram, which would be 121 division. I think that would be good. I feel like they should definitely add, like, that would be a good division, because I feel like 132 and under, I mean, even me, I walk around like in the 20s, 120s, so 121 is perfect for me. I feel like they definitely have to add divisions too for the, 132 and over, or the 60 and over, because that's like such a big size gap. And then I just think they definitely need to add weight classes, but I do hope by the next one, or that they add a 55 kilogram division.
And how long do you see yourself continuing your jujitsu career?
I don't know yet. I mean, I'm turning 29 this year, so I think I still have a bunch of years, hopefully. But yeah, I think I have a few more years. I don't have any set
That's so
time or
awesome.
anything.
You're 29 and you like finished law school and you're a world champion. Like that is so accomplished and you're not even in your 30s.
Thank you. I mean, I hope to keep, I don't have a set time or goals with anything, just chilling as always.
I love that. And when you think about what you want your future to look like, does it ever look like you want to get more into the coaching side of things or maybe the broadcaster side of things? Like what interests you in the future of jujitsu?
Um, I don't I never really thought of that. I feel like if my brother, let's say, had a gym or something, maybe I would teach there, but I don't really want to. I'm not really interested in coaching or the broadcasting or anything. Not really. I don't really have set goals with anything like that, to be honest.
Nice. You'll just always be there to cheer on your brother and watch him compete. Tell me, who do you get more nervous for? Watching your brother
Oh,
Mikey
him.
fight or you getting ready to compete?
Oh, Mikey, 100%. Definitely Mikey. It's very hard to watch him, even though I know he's going to do well. It's just something that I think, because I see him as my little brother, it's hard for me to see him do that. But like
I
it is
bet.
hard for me to do that. Even if I know he's gonna like destroy the guy, it's still hard. But
Yeah,
I
that's your
mean,
baby
me, I
brother.
don't really get as nervous. Yeah, I don't really get nervous for myself, but him, I get really nervous.
Yeah, that makes a
Even
lot
though
of
I
sense.
probably
I feel
need
like you guys
more
are
nerves than him.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because
so nice
he's
to
good.
see you guys be so close. I feel like he is such a personality. Like everyone loved to make a big deal about when he said that he mainly eats pasta and pizza and just trains through that. Do you follow a very different diet regimen than him, or do you also like pizza and pasta as much as possible?
I mean, it depends. Like, since he's been home, I've been kind of eating that way. If I don't really follow a set diet if I'm fighting like 125. If I do 115, I have to eat cleaner, obviously, to lose some weight. For 125, I just maybe I eat, like, I try to eat healthy in general, but I walk around at that weight, so it doesn't really make a difference.
We had a little technical difficulty, so I wanted to take some time to say if you are enjoying this interview, please give it a like. It helps me determine what kind of content or people I should interview. So would greatly appreciate feedback in the comments as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to do that too. All right, back to the interview. We just were basically wondering if you had a favorite fight. I know you have a lot of wins against some big names in the jiu-jitsu world, but does anyone stand out as your favorite?
Um, Try to think. I mean, I feel like there's some times that, like, where I felt like a certain tournament win.
like not make was more of like a personal victory over maybe a certain situation. For example, maybe like I felt like in 2015, I like I mean I kind of went through a little of the dark time on my own, and I felt weird with competing. Like I feel like competing for me has always been like a mental game. I haven't like if my mind is good, I'm good. If my mind's bad, then sometimes like I could go into a match and like the whole time I'm just mentally bad. So like Nogi Worlds was one of those this year, and then Nogi Girls in, Worlds in 2015 also was because that one I felt like I really was able to really do what I set out to do, you know. So that one I put Mackenzie in the finals, and that one I felt was a really good one. I'm trying to think. Even in ADCC, like I mean, I got third place. I didn't win it, but even getting third place there was pretty cool. Because that one too, I felt like I went to another country. I overcame. Like it's just certain stuff. Like really, like it's weird. I don't really, even winning worlds or something. I don't really care. It's more of like the actual like within myself. You know, that's why it's that's why even having social media, like we were talking about before, I don't really care about doing it for the attention or the title. I kind of just like that I'm put in a situation where I have to rise, you know, like I have to push myself and see how much I could put into it and hopefully see if I could get the results as close to what I want to get, you know, in that way.
That's really inspirational that you enjoy the process of jujitsu and the pressure of competing, and you do it not for validation, but because you like putting that pressure on yourself and seeing if you could get through the mental battles that you go through. I know that one of the things about the toxic community and not having social media and maybe not being in mental spaces to compete all the time. I mean, I speak for everyone when I say everyone wants to see you compete. So it's
Oh,
hard
thank you.
when we see an article that says, or Mikey basically had a headline that said, um, the toxic community has kind of uh, made things not fun for Tammi competing. And I think Nicholas Meregali took a screenshot and was just like, hey, there's going to be toxic people in this jiu-jitsu community, but we still need to see Tammi fight because everyone loves it. Everyone
Really?
loves to. Yeah, he put that on his Instagram feed, like not just a
Oh,
story. He like posted that and he was just like, we need to see you compete and to get past some of the negatives of the jiu-jitsu community. So yeah, I thought you knew that.
no.
Yeah,
That was, wow.
yeah, he posted that, and he has a lot of respect for your career, and um, yeah, it. I guess it's nice to not have all that social media stuff, but no, he definitely took a screenshot of that and gave you a shout out. So I'm
Oh,
glad you know
cool. Wow.
that.
I'll give myself one of those.
Yeah. So yeah, that was basically wrapped up all of my questions for you. I am curious since you have a big win over Jasmine Hosha, who is going to be competing against Ffion Davis coming up. Do you have any thoughts on that matchup and who you think is the favorite going in?
So I don't. I've only trained with Ffion once when she was a blue belt, so I don't really. And she felt really strong on top, so it's hard for me to make and a determination like that. Like everywhere where I saw Jasmine fight, she looked really good. Like, um, I really didn't know that much about her before I competed against her, but now I've been seeing that she's been winning a lot and she does really well. I'm not entirely sure. Like I felt like her guard was really good too, so I feel like Ffion would have a. It might be harder for Ffion to pass the guard. Like if even if like it's she does have a good guard. Her top is good too, Jasmine. But it's hard for me to like compare the two because I haven't like competed against or trained with Ffion like recently. But she's looked like she's been definitely like winning a lot too and doing well. So it should be a good matchup though. But I have no idea how it will go, and it's hard for me to choose. You know.
Yeah, but that's so cool that you have a background with Ffion a little bit, at
I
least
mean,
training with her
kind
when
of.
she's a blue belt.
I mean, it's super random. So I was at AOJ at the time for Nogi World in 2015, and I remember like she came in, and I remember, and I didn't really talk to her that much, but she was smashing a bunch of people. So I was like, oh. And I trained with her, and then we didn't really talk that much. But then I saw her the next day, and I think she got double gold at blue belt, because I was like, oh, she's pretty good. I want to see how she's doing. And she was like, I thought she was doing judo, because she kept trying to headlock me in close guard. I was like, oh. And then I saw her like just throwing people and just destroying like a bunch of, like, winning a ton of fights. I was like, oh, she's really good. But I haven't, since 2015, I haven't like trained with her or anything. So I can't like say what her strengths are, but it looks like she's good everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, to become ADCC world champion, you have to be really freaking good. And then to win worlds as well. She is such an inspiration. You are such an inspiration. And I want to get what your advice would be, because I'm a white belt. I've only competed 9 times, but I feel like I'm really falling in love with the sport. So what would be your advice for athletes on the come up, and maybe just hobbyists like myself? Like, what would be your biggest advice for someone looking ahead into their jiu-jitsu journey?
So I get that question a lot, like, what is your advice and stuff. I feel like everyone does it differently and for different reasons. Like, some people do it for weight loss, some people do it like, to have, be socialization and around people. For what I like to do it for, I like to do it to push myself, and it gives me an opportunity to have goals that, like, everyone has goals, I guess, in life of what they eventually want to do. But I mean, it's kind of like goals that are tangible, like you could actually, hit them, like kind of short-term goals that keep you on a path to it. And I think I said this in my IBJJF interview as well. It also gives you motivation to train, like, because after work, let's say, or, life is stressful for a lot of people. You do need motivation to train, because when it comes down to it, like, is it more enjoyable to train sometimes than it is to sit on the couch and watch TV and eat, good tasting food? No, but in theory, what is going to be better in the long run for you, or even mentally? It might feel good to sit on the couch and eat the good food and not train that moment, but later that night you'll feel better that you accomplished, that you pushed yourself. So I just think it depends, like, whatever you're doing it for, to not be discouraged and to keep going and to try to reach the goals that you set, because it is possible for you to reach those goals.
I love that. I love that piece of advice. It's definitely motivating. We can't wait to see you in action on one, facing Amanda Alequin July 5th, you said, right?
15th. 15th.
Oh, 15th. July 15th. So you have some time.
I think it's 14th in America, but 15th in Thailand.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, enjoy your trip to Thailand. Take a lot of videos and freaking have a blast. We cannot wait to see what you do. Thank you so much, Tammi, for the time.